I don't know if I've got audio. Let me take a look here. Do I have audio? What's going on? Testing 1, 2. Okay, yes, speakers. Check. All right. Hey, Rolls, can you hear me okay? I can't hear myself. My monitor is testing 1, 2. Oh, there it goes. Never mind. Hello, testing 1, 2. Yep, okay, coming in. Coming in. Awesome. Awesome. I don't think the music is playing, though. Is it? No. I don't hear anything. I don't know what's going on. Let's double check my audio here. Okay, that's coming in. All right. Hello. Getting everything situated here. Sorry. How's everyone? How you doing, Rolls? How's your week been? Oh my God. I don't know what's going on. There's none of the music that I'm playing is playing. StreamYard changed a couple things here. The interface is the same, but there's a couple things moved around. So I'm kind of... It has been a week already, man. Let me tell you. I'll... Oh man, is it too soon? I don't know. I don't even know what to say about this story. We'll talk about it. It's that is some interesting... I don't even know what to say. It's... Can't even understand what's going on, why anyone would do that. You couldn't pay me enough money to go into a experimental submarine with no windows. It's got no windows. That's the killer part. I don't know if you've read anything about it. So they go down into this. They go down in the submarine to go down to see the Titanic, but they can't see it because there's no windows on it. So you're still using like a video feed. Oh, does it have one window but tiny? Okay, so I mean, like, I don't understand. Like, I don't know. I can't hear. Why is there not playing any of the music I'm playing? Play some music. Let's how about that one? Is that playing? There it goes. That's playing. All right. Oh man. The office is in a little bit of chaos. It's actually pretty empty back here. The packing has commenced / getting shit out of my office. So, but we're going to talk about the Nintendo Direct today. And I don't know anything else. I saw the Flash this week. We'll talk about that Titanic story for sure. What else? There's a few other things that I want to talk about. We'll figure out once we kind of run through it. But yeah, Titanic one is one of the things that's always fascinating me. Honestly, I wouldn't mind seeing it in person one day, but hopefully in a suck with a lot of engineering done to it. I don't know. Hey, what's going on, Tim? I don't know if I need to see the Titanic anymore. Like, what are we seeing anymore? It is a piece of wreckage of a ship. I mean, are we expected to find aliens? What are we seeing down there? I just don't understand the reason to go see the Titanic. We didn't James Cameron spend millions and millions of dollars to go down there and then film a movie about it? Like, I don't understand. We have enough footage. We know what it looks like. It's only going to get worse. It's I don't. Yeah, right. Want to say, watch the movie. Like, I don't. I just don't get the fascination. Well, like I understand the pyramids. I understand modern pieces of art, like the Mona Lisa, the Sistine Chapel, the Vatican, the Mayan ruins, Stonehenge, all these wonderful things that exist outside that were created long ago. But the Titanic is a tragedy, and it's just man-made metal at the bottom of the ocean. Um, I just don't. I don't. Why would you go down there? Like, I don't. What? Like this morbid. Like, are you expecting to see like a body float by? Like, I don't know. I said it before, it looks pretty good with the facts around the sinking, but man, that love story was, it was a product of its time, right? It was a love story that kind of made you. If it wasn't for you, it wasn't for you. I enjoyed it. I mean, I like the I like Rose and Leo. The story with Jack and Rose and all that kind of stuff. And I think it was a fun fictional story of a you know I don't know. It is what it is. But I guess my point is like the Titanic itself as a documentary, like seeing the footage and all that, it's there. It's cool. Woo! We spent all this money to go down there. That's it. I just don't. What do we need? What is one person? Why would you need to go down there that you can't? Nothing is just. It's undisturbed, right? Like it's so deep that there's like certain animals that live down there, and that's it. But the pressure is kind of preserving a lot of that stuff. Like there's nothing. Like if you touch it, it just crumbles, right? That's kind of the nature of it, because of the pressure. So you can't bring any of that stuff up because it'll kind of just dissolve. Rose is a murderer. Firmly. I'm in the firm camp. They could have. Yeah, of course he could have fit on that wood. Although I read recently that there was like some like scientific thing that someone tried to do it and it couldn't be done. I don't know. I don't know. It's so silly. Anyway, let me roll these credits and then we'll go from there, because this is it's ridiculous. And we got some direct stuff to talk about, and then we'll talk about Jack and Rose a little later. Oh God, what am I even doing? Let's go. Rose says she'll never let go. First thing she does is let go. Yep, that's it. Let's we are full 1997 here. We are talking about James Cameron's epic Oscar-winning movie, The Titanic, or Titanic, not the Titanic. Have you guys seen that? I mean, it's been out for a long time, but someone recently shared that alternate ending to Titanic. Have you seen that weird alternate ending, or the alternate ending with Rose dropping the heart of the ocean into the sea, and you've got like oh man, you've got who's the actor? Oh my God, I'm gonna feel bad. Bill Pullman, right? Is it Bill Pullman? Yes. Bill Paxton. Thank you, Paxton. Thank you. I had it. I knew it. I had the first name right. Anyway, he's there and he's like freaking out that she had it, and that's what they've been looking for. And like it's just completely weird. Yeah, I've seen. Yes, yes. That's just, thank you, Tim. But hold on, let me see if I can find this alternate ending. I'm going to just show a little bit of it. Am I allowed to do that? I mean, it's on. Wait, hold on. One All right. Hold on. Let me pull that up here. Uh, she's not gonna come. Just close the door. Dog. Let's see if I can pull this up. Oh yeah. So 4 years ago, someone, I guess it was seen unseen. 9 years ago, right? Like when it got put up on that big edition that came out. Let's see if I can. I just want to pull a little bit of it up. Nope, not full screen there because I can't share that. This is ridiculous. Like, come on. There we go. All right, let me add the screen here. this weird ending here. And so she's having this moment, and all of a sudden she's like, they interrupt her, right? So
you had it the entire time?
Oh my god. Maybe that's what those billionaires were down there looking for. They were looking for Heart of the Ocean, right? Is that what they're there for? Because people with money are the only people that can afford to go treasure hunt, right? Like Scrooge McDuck. He can like pay for all the expeditions in the world to go do the treasure hunting because he's a multi-billionaire, right?
Shit. Look, Rose. I don't know.
This ending is so ridiculous, and we're not gonna watch the whole thing because I'm sure it'll copyright strike me or some crap. But my point is she just drops it. She's just like, so what's so funny about that stupid ending is like, okay, what's stopping them from just like coming back, right? Like it's not that deep right now. Anyone, like the moment you turn away, anyone could have just jumped in and grabbed it. Like there's no, they now know it's there. It's not going to drift that far. They can go drop her off at port and come back the right coordinates and just jump in and go dive for it and get it because they wouldn't know, they wouldn't have to hunt for it. It would just be there. I don't know. It just seems so silly. The original ending with her just dropping it quietly, knowing that she even had it is kind of a better. It is the better ending, right? But this is so ridiculous. Who thought this was a good idea? I don't know. Oh man, speaking of ridiculous and blast from the past, I saw The Flash yesterday with my kiddos. Yeah, I want to talk a little bit about that movie. And let me. I don't want to spoil it for anybody who wants to go see it. It wasn't a bad movie. I'm going to put that right out there, right off the bat. I liked it. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the hodgepodge mess of a movie that it was, and I just it is a mess of a movie. It is absolutely a mess of a movie, and I don't even know where to begin on talking about this movie. This movie was interesting because it was it had all of these like, it felt like it was not the movie that it was, right? And obviously the movie, it was made by committee, and then I guess when James Gunn came and took over, they re-edited the ending and changed a bunch of things, and here we are with a whole new version of this movie. If you don't care about spoilers, let me know in the comments real quick, just so that I can maybe talk a little bit about them, because I feel like it's hard to talk about this movie without spoiling some of it, because the trailers have been kind of, the trailers have been. I'll go with spoiler in Titanic, the boat sinks. Yeah, well, I mean the Titanic. Haven't seen The Flash, but what I've heard is they no, I don't think they could have. You know what's funny about this? What's funny about the Ezra in general is that I think he was amazing in the movie. Obviously we know what we know now and what kind of person he is and the craziness and all of that aside. Ezra was an amazing Barry, I think, what was fun about his version of Barry was that one, he was mixed, right? So he was white and Latino. From what you can see, his mom is Latina in the movie, and um, there's just this identification with some of that. There's a really sweet scene with him and his mom, uh, and he just plays the character really well. And what was really jarring about this movie is it feels like it's part of a series of movies that don't exist anymore, right? And what I mean by that is that we've got this, these movies are based off of the Zack Snyder universe, which is then the Justice League movie, but it's the Joss Whedon version of Justice League, the one that everyone doesn't like. And then, so now we've got the beginning of this movie, the first like 20 minutes is these scenes that are playing right now are essentially the first 20, 30 minutes of the movie with, the Flash existing in a world where there is a Wonder Woman, where there is a Superman, where there is an Aquaman, where Cyborg exists. And these characters are alive and breathing, and in this world, they reference them, they talk about them. I mean, at the very beginning of the movie, there's this distress call for the Flash, and he's like, we've got Alfred telling him, "Hey, we need your help," and he's like, "Well, why don't you call Superman? Where's Superman?" And he's like, "Well, he's busy." And then he turns and looks at the TV, and there's like Superman. They don't show Henry Cavill's face, but he's like floating in, like saving a big old island from like a volcano or something. And then they're like, "Well, why don't you call Wonder Woman?" And Wonder Woman's like, "Oh, well, she's busy. She didn't pick up." And so I'm your third option. Yeah, sure, okay. So then he goes and he saves and he helps and he works, and there's this whole like awesome scene, great scene with the Flash and Batman interacting. It's a really cool universe that exists. Can't support the movie as much as I want to see. Just hear me out here. This movie was interesting because, like I said, it was almost like it had to be made, only because it was already in the can, right? When I mean by it had to be made, as in it was made because they thought they had something going for it, and then things changed multiple times at Warner Brothers during the process of production and making and filming and finishing of this movie. And so we've had change of the guard multiple times, multiple directions, from Zack Snyder being there, from Zack Snyder not being there, from Zack Snyder coming back to make his like long movie, from Henry Cavill being introduced to come back, to being canceled and not come back, to Wonder Woman, her next movie coming out, to being canceled completely. It's just this weird out of time movie. And it's fitting for a movie about the multiverse. So that's the point of the movie, right? So we've got Flash. If you're familiar with Flashpoint and the Flashpoint comic series, or go watch the Flashpoint cartoon or animated movie or whatever, that'll give you a little kind of rundown of what it is. It's a mix of that and actually even a mix of a little bit of Injustice. The version of Supergirl that's in this movie is actually, her visual look is based on Clark's daughter, who is grown up, the daughter of Lois and Clark, in an alternate reality within the Injustice universe, if that makes sense. It's just, in the Injustice video games and the comic book series, there's a Superman's the bad guy, right? Like, because that's the common trope with Superman. But in one of the issues or whatever, there is a moment where they drug / put to sleep Superman. They use there's this flower that gets put on your chest that kind of puts you in a state of dream and kind of feeds you everything that you want. So everything bad that happens to Superman kind of gets reversed, and so all the good things happen to him. And one of the good things that happens is that his daughter is born, and so he lives this whole life cycle within his head, and it is in a dream world. And he has his daughter, and his daughter looks exactly like that, short black hair, and that's her outfit looks exactly like that. But her actual origin is Kara Zor-El's Supergirl. She was Superman or Kal-El's cousin, who gets sent at the same time as Kal-El. Kal-El gets intercepted in this universe, so he never makes it to Earth, and so Kara does. And then when she lands, she kind of gets taken by the government and experimented on And of course, they don't show the U.S. government; they show the Russians. Which, anywho, the point is that's without too much spoilers there. That's her take. And then at the same time, we've got Michael Keaton Batman, who is an older Batman, and they explain a little bit of that, why he's that old, even though it's the same time frame. It's because everything's kind of shifted. Time is, you affect time in one spot and affects it in the front and the back of the timeline. It's not linear. It's really cool. It's a really cool way of kind of introducing the multiverse. And yeah, I mean, it's a lot of callbacks, a lot of great Easter eggs, little mentions here and there. He says all the lines, I'm Batman and you want to get nuts, and all of the fun Batman lines. And he looks great as Batman. He portrays a Batman from 1989, which is so funny because like there's this one scene where he puts them on this like thing and he has to like weigh them, right? And immediately he's like, how much do you weigh? And then he pulls out like a measuring tape real quick from his utility belt and does this like quick like mathematic equation, when any other Batman would have had like some like high-tech gadget to do all of that. So his gadgets are just high-tech enough that they're like stuck in the 80s, not modern technology. So it's pretty neat. Like even his grapple gun, is still kind of like the gas-powered grapple gun from the original movie. The kind of cartridge based. It's not super high tech looking. Everything is very 80s high tech, low tech. Like it was high tech at the time, but still retro. Now it's just retro and old because we've seen it before in 1989. His suit is still we have to understand that this is the version of Michael Keaton Batman where Batman Forever and Batman and Robin did not happen. They're not part of the same universe, even though we see all four of those movies as one kind of same Batman. That's not what this is about. This Michael Keaton Batman is Michael Keaton Batman, and at the end of like Returns, I guess, would be the final. That's the last time you see this version of Batman, and so this multiverse ends there. So his suit is still like the old Bob Ringwood designed bat suit where you can't turn the neck, and it's just pretty cool to see all of that, and all the jokes get put. And there's all sorts of cameos and multiverses that get multi universes that get shown in this world. So all in all, it's a fun movie to see. It's sad. I feel like this is one of those movies where if you were a fan of any of the previous movies, this feels like a bitter end in a way, because just those first 20-30 minutes showed a potential of a universe that was just as alive and thriving as like the Marvel universe with all the heroes running around. And that's disappointing. It's disappointing to see that Ben Affleck will never be Batman, because the version of Batman we see in the first 30 minutes is Ben Affleck as Batman. And his suit he's got kind of a dark blue and gray suit in this one at the beginning. So that was pretty cool to see. And he's kind of a mentor to everyone. He's a strategist. He is an older Batman, but not as old as Keaton Batman. And there is a world of Superman and Wonder Woman, and there is a Justice League, and they all talk to each other, and it's just really cool. And now we're back to square one, because at the end of this movie, this is essentially the end of this universe. So with that all being said, do I recommend go seeing it? I mean, maybe if you really like this universe, if you want to go see all the Easter eggs for all the other movies, but outside of that, yeah, it's done. It's over. Which sucks, because Flash, Ezra Miller, is a good Flash. Is he a good person? No. Does he deserve to? He needs some help. He needs some mental help. He needs some. I think everyone deserves second chances for the things that they do. And honestly, what he's done, maybe he hasn't paid any penance for yet, because he's still kind of in the limelight, because Warner Brothers can't really cancel him. They really can't do anything about that. They have to kind of move on with him, because they had all this in the can. So I digress. My point is, it's a good movie. It's going to be definitely a renter. I will buy it. I will own it. It'll be nice at the end of my set of the Snyder universe / pre-Gunn universe. And what happens now is, I don't know. We still have an Aquaman 2 that needs to come out, which is still part of this universe. So that's happening. How much was Keaton in it? Keaton is in the movie, like 3/4 of the movie. he is. I mean, as soon as he time travels, and then he ends up in this universe, he ends up in a like 90. I can't remember what year he lands in. Um, Barry is 18 years old at the time when he lands, and he's not. He's obviously older than that, so it's in the past, but not as far back as he went. And as soon as he gets there, that's when, like, not long after, he sees Keaton Batman, and he's there through the end. I mean, there's a whole. It's a good scene. He's so good in it. It was so nice to. I mean, if anything, if you're a fan of the '89 Batman and Batman Returns, go watch this movie just to see Keaton again in the suit. He plays Batman so well. He's also happier, which is kind of cool to see, and it's all explained on why. You know, from my understanding, is Alfred is long gone. He's passed away, and Batman, Batman kind of ended his mission. Like, in this universe, there is no other heroes, and Gotham is like a safe city, so he's not needed anymore. And he's actually kind of a weird bohemian, old, long-haired hippie guy living in his house. So yeah, does Keaton and share screen? Is there? No, there isn't, and that is sad. But there are multiple Batmen in this movie. There is other Batmen in this movie. That's the best way to put it. But they're not all on screen at the same time. Man, like that. I have been back and forth on this particular topic many times. I've had multiple discussions about the Batman, how I feel about them. And Clooney is not the Bruce Wayne and Batman we needed at that moment. At least the best way to put it is Clooney was not ready to be Batman when Clooney played Batman. He was still fresh off of ER, kind of smiley, schmarmy Clooney. He wasn't older, grizzled. It's a bad movie, right? I think I mean, there's a recent interview with him, or an interview with him, when they talk about it, and he says that I wasn't a good Batman. The script wasn't good. The directing wasn't good. The writing wasn't good. All of it wasn't good. Doesn't mean that anyone that wrote it, the writer went on to win an Oscar. Joel Schumacher, who's passed away, has made a lot of good movies after that. It was just this weird casting and role and writing and direction that just didn't work for him. I don't agree with Ocean's 11 being it, but yes, that is one of his bigger movies for sure. I mean, he was awesome in tons of movies before that. I mean, Dusk Till Dawn really put him out there, and then he did a bunch of other ones after that before he did Ocean's 11, I think. But I mean, Clooney was a name before Ocean's 11. He just wasn't as big, and then Ocean's 11 put him in that star-studded role of being, Danny Ocean. So again, the character of Danny Ocean, where he's more serious and then kind of like, that schmarmy character is good for him. It's a good fit for Clooney. And I think if you wrote Clooney now, who's done like war movies now and done like, what is it, Brother Where Art Thou, and other movies like that, he's got more range. And if you give him a direction, he could be an amazing Bruce Wayne. He could be an amazing Batman. I don't know. He would never do it again. And he should never be picked for him now at the age that he's in, unless you're doing an old Batman, right? So, but yes, my point is I would really not dismiss Clooney as a bad Batman. I wouldn't dismiss Kilmer as a bad Batman. He was blonde, which was weird, but I think all of them played pretty decent characters at the time with the role that they were given. I blame the script and the directing and the idea to go camp in that movie more than anything. I mean, let's face it, the movie is campy, and I'm not saying campy as in like a derogatory sense. I'm saying camp as in like it is a camp movie. Like the very first scene where, they're heading towards the, Mr. Freeze and the bank scene and whatever. When they land, they literally hit their heels and pop out like skates, and spotlights appear above them and follow them as they do this whole like battle with these thugs. It's like it's meant to be campy. It's meant to be it's 1966 Batman in a modern sense is what it was, where that's not where we wanted, because we had just come off of these Tim Burton movies that were dark and gritty and like kind of violent, and then we went to these style like campy movies. That wasn't the direction that we should have gone. But Joel Schumacher and Warner Brothers wanted merchandising. They wanted more kids. They didn't want the dark scary moments of the Penguin anymore. So yeah, I mean, again, I've learned later as I've gotten older that those movies have a place. They weren't the movies we wanted, when they weren't the follow-up movies we wanted from those two movies. It's hard to follow Tim Burton and not kind of go a different route. And Tim Burton usually can't follow Tim Burton, right? Like that's the problem. Is Tim Burton's sequel is a little over the top. Like Returns is great. I love Returns, but but they're not. It's not as good as the first one. The atmosphere is not as good as the first one. It is campier than the first one, but rightfully so. But then they kept going down the camp road and omitted the like Burton of it all. I don't know. It's hard. Anywho, go watch The Flash if you enjoy that universe. Enjoy all of those universe. It's a good send off to some of those. It's a good way for DC to really reboot things. It really should be the last movie, even though we still have Aquaman coming out. I don't know how that's going to end. I'm wondering. I'm thinking that's what they're doing. Is that's what not only did they have to take for the whole Amber Heard thing and all of that. I think it had to go back to editing and reshoots and whatever else, because they're trying to figure out what they're going to do. I don't know. I don't know if Aquaman's going to be Aquaman anymore, right? Like he might be part of the universe. I don't know yet. We'll see. It was a really sad moment that we didn't really get a proper send off for Henry as Superman. So that's sad to see, but we did get a proper Ben Affleck send off and a proper. Can I spoil this? Should I spoil this? I'm going to spoil this, folks. We do get a proper Gal Gadot send off. I'll just put that out there, right? That's hard to spoil because she shows up the first 10-15 minutes of the movie. So, yeah, you're not gonna be waiting long. It's not a stinger. It's not anything that's gonna happen. Yeah, Blue Beetle is the beginning of the new version, but apparently Aquaman is in the new timeline. So yeah, that's I don't know how they're gonna make that work. I don't know. The end of The Flash really shows that it's still the Snyder universe, because there is a Superman, like Superman exists in this universe with some mild changes. No spoilers there. Go watch the movie. I would give this maybe a 7 out of 10 on enjoyment, but a 4 out of 10 as a actual like piece of a great superhero movie. It's only I'm rating it only that high as a 7 out of 10 because of all of the wonderful love of all of the other universes shown. But as a base Flash movie, it's weird. That's not the direction I would have gone for a Flash movie. They put too much in it for a starting Flash movie. Flashpoint is not the first story that comes to mind as a Flash, but it's become the modern Flash story, and that's not where I would have gone. The show has nothing to do with the movie. Remember, it's a different universe. CW different, completely different, but I digress. Yeah. Anywho, what else is new this week, man? We had a Nintendo Direct today, which was rumored over the weekend. There was a rumor over the weekend saying that something was going to happen this coming week. The rumors were that there was going to be some major announcements, and there were some pretty major announcements. It also shows that the Switch isn't dead. The Switch still has a lot of life in it. Nintendo still has some big things to introduce with it. But I have a theory, and I'm going to kind of break this down. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. And if again, let me pull some of these things up here. Man, it was a good Direct. It was fun. Like I really can't emphasize how cool it was to see some of these new things. One of the things that was announced, and I'll just kind of start at that because that'll be the first trailer that I'll play, is the two big announcements were, one, we are getting a remaster, or no, a remake. It's a remake of Super Mario RPG. That up here. Nope. Sorry, folks. Oh man, I'm beat today. Did I tell you that house hunting takes it out of you? We'll talk a little about that. Let's show this wonderful trailer because this trailer is amazing. Don't know if anyone's a fan of Super Mario RPG, one of the great starting point for many people for JRPG style games on the Super Nintendo. Really expensive game now, and you're getting an amazing remake. It's so amazing to see. Remastered music, graphics, whole new style. Just a good remaster from what it's looking like. This game is pretty infamous in the sense that, like, it was a big collaboration between Squaresoft at the time, Square, and Nintendo. They basically they helped design some of these characters. The wooden character there, Genos, is the only game he's been in. He's kind of a character for this game. And yeah, I mean, you see at the bottom left, Square Enix, Nintendo. So this was a big collaboration with them back in 90, man, what is it, 90, 96, 94? Man, I don't even remember what year it came out in anymore. 94, 95. Anyway, my point is it's a great game. It's hard to come by nowadays. It is, you can buy a repro. Please go buy a reproduction if you can. If you have a Super Nintendo, please don't pay the prices that people are asking for. Buy Super Mario RPG by individuals. It is not worth the price. Please. I'm reemphasizing that only because I'm so tired of the secondary market profiting off of the nostalgia by scalping or by selling at these weird prices. It is a popular game. It was printed. Tons of people bought it. Lots of copies out there. There's no reason for it to cost as much as it does. And as of right now, I'm going to pull up the price charting. Hold on. Price charting says, let's see what it says for Mario RPG. The price for Mario RPG is Super Mario RPG. The price for Super Mario RPG on the Super Nintendo, a loose copy, like a loose version of the game with no box, no nothing, right now is going for a grand total of $81. And that is ridiculous. A complete price, which would be the box and the manual and whatever else, is $300. The box alone goes for $100. It's ridiculous. I mean, it's only going to go up or down. I don't know what how some of these remakes fluctuate the price. Sometimes they don't affect it at all because people will go like, well, that's the remake, I want the original, and so then it goes up in price, or vice versa. It goes down in price because now there's another way to play it. Which I digress. Don't pay $90 for this game. There are reproductions out there. There are ways of playing it, other ways of playing it. I'm going to reemphasize that. So please do it that way. Don't pay $90 for a copy of Super Mario RPG. Unless you really want to, and you want it because you have love and nostalgia for it, you want it for your own collection, then by all means go for it. That is a great thing to see. I love that Nintendo kind of surprised that. That was not on my radar. I wouldn't even imagining that was going to happen or come out or whatever else. But here we are. Another big one that was announced was we are getting a HT remaster. This is a remaster because they didn't really change much. It's just basically the GameCube / Wii versions ported over to the Switch. So you can buy these right now. They were launched today. So if you like Pikmin 1 and 2 are now available to play on the Switch. Great funky style franchise. Like if you're unfamiliar with it, you're kind of a little space guy who lives on a planet, and there's these plant people called Pikmin, and you've got to use them. They're kind of like a resource in themselves, and each color has a different like power or thing that you can do, and you use them to kind of rebuild your ship and kind of leave. And yeah, and then again, part 2, same kind of premise. So we had part 1 and 2 came out on the GameCube, and then they were eventually ported over to the Wii with fun point control with the Wiimote, and that was it. That was the last official release for those games. And they really don't go. They're not super expensive, so if you still have those old systems, you can still find copies of those games. But now it's nice that you can just pick up a digital copy of part 1 and 2 right on the eShop. Part 3 came out on the Switch early on. No, part 3 came out on the. Came out on the Wii U, and then I think it was ported over to the Switch. And so now we're getting part 4 coming out soon on the Switch. So with that said, though, it's a way for them to have the entire 4 parts of the game all on one console. So that's cool. So it's nice to see that. Yeah. So available as a bundle or sold separately. So yeah, that's a cool one to see. What else, man? Oh yeah. Okay. So we also did get this announcement, which is not just for Switch. We are getting this coming out for other systems as well.
Series of stealth action games
Konami decided to go into their
as Metal Gear Solid Master Collection
bag
Volume 1.
of properties.
This compilation includes
milk it because
Metal
they don't
Gear
really make
Solid,
new games anymore.
Infiltrate and regain control of Shadow Moses Island.
Pachinko
Metal
machines,
Gear
but
Solid 2,
you know, every
Sons
few
of
generations
Liberty.
you can milk this and release these games.
Deadly
There you go.
amphibious weapon.
Metal Gear Solid
1,
3,
2, 3, Snake Eater,
the 2 original
survive
NES
the
games.
jungle
I think we
and
even get the
confront
original
former mentor.
FX games.
You can also enjoy the games that started the series, Metal Gear and Metal Gear 2 Solid Snake, as well as the NES versions of both Metal Gear and Snake's Revenge. This compilation also contains the first Metal Gear Solid digital graphic novel.
Pick these up. Some of these games have gone up in price. Some of them are kind of limited to what systems you can play them on.
Additional content includes screenplay
we've had
books
remasters
and
of these
master
before.
books with story and character
360
info,
and the
strategy guides for
PS3
each
had
game,
a collection,
and a
which I
digital
still have.
soundtrack.
So it's not impossible to play these games. But
Metal
it's nice
Gear
that we're getting a
Solid
modern
Master Collection Volume 1
remaster.
launches on Nintendo
Remaster
Switch
collection.
October
Not a remake,
24th.
remaster. So October 24th.
Begin
Great.
today on
I don't know why you
Nintendo
need to pre-order
eShop.
these. Please don't pre-order
The
now.
first
You'll be fine. So that's coming out. What else, man? We had some fun ones. We had an announcement for more characters for the game that just keeps on giving.
Rev up.
We're getting
for
another
Wave
wave of
5.
course for Mario Kart
brand
8,
new
a game
course
that
is racing
pretty
into
much
Wave
came out
5
at
of the
launch.
Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Booster Course
Still
Pass
getting
DLC.
content. I mean, this is a game that was
Introducing
released on the
Squeaky
Wii U,
Clean
which
Sprint.
was then ported over to the Switch,
More
which
characters
has now
are
got
also being
DLC
added
with more characters.
from Mario Kart
So here we
Double
are. We're
Dash,
getting 3
Petey
characters
Piranha.
and new courses.
From
It's
Mario
now
Kart
become.
7,
I think this is a good
Wiggler.
idea for Nintendo. I really wish they had just released this as like Mario Kart, like
And from
something
Mario
Championship
Kart
Edition
Tour,
or whatever,
Comet.
and just been like, this is going to be an ever-changing game. We're going to support this game for 6 years or whatever,
Wave 5
and just
of
keep
the
adding
Mario
characters and
Kart 8
tracks.
Deluxe Booster Course Pass DLC
Which is
for
kind of
the
what they
Mario
did with
Kart 8 Deluxe
Mania,
game zooms onto Nintendo Switch
It's
this
still
summer.
being supported since its
Active
original launch.
Nintendo Switch Online Plus expansion pack members can enjoy this DLC at no additional cost. The DLC can also be purchased on its own.
So there you go. That was that one. We had some footage for Sonic Superstars, which is cool. But the big announcement, of course, and I'm going to get to the Peach game in a second. That's going to be another part of the conversation. We had two fun announcements, and this one's kind of a quiet one, but you really should pay attention to this. One, this game is being created by the creators and the team that brought Sonic Mania. Sonic Mania is a fantastic Sonic game. It's the reason why Sega kind of was just like, whoa, hold up, wait, fans. If you're not familiar with the story for Sonic Mania, I think his name is Christian Whitehead is what his name. He is a fan of Sonic who developed an engine to kind of rewrite Sonic games. And so he was kind of messing around and making his own version of Sonic, or kind of remasters of his own. And Sega hired him and brought him on and made him kind of the head developer for Sonic Mania, and which is why Sonic Mania is loved, because it was done by someone that understood the content, understood the engine, understood the speed and the controls. And so that's been the problem with some of the modern Sonic games, is Sonic games never feel like the original ones. There's always kind of like a weird lag, or like the mechanics don't feel right. And so it looks like he's not working with Sega anymore. So he decided to make his own game. And so he kind of made his own Sonic game. And so that's what this game is. This is called, it's called Penny's Big Breakaway. It's his own character. But really pay attention to these mechanics here, because again, it's in the 3D world. It is a Sonic game. And it feels like it, and I'm excited because it's a platformer, or a 3D platformer that looks like this is what Sonic should feel like in a 3D world. I mean, just replace this character rolling around like Sonic would. You've got coins or rings or whatever. Going up ramps in the walls. I mean, it is a Sonic game with some tweaked mechanics, right? As opposed to the character turning into a ball, you've got this yo-yo that kind of like does all of these spear-like things. And honestly, man, this feels like a Sonic game, or what a 3D Sonic platformer should feel like, and something that Sega just can't seem to get right. So if you're a fan of the Sonic games in general, or a fan of this platformers, 3D platformers, this is a game to kind of keep an eye on for sure. So that was a big one, of course. And the bigger one has to be, let me see if I can pull this up. Man, hold on. I apologize. I'm going to pull this up. All right, so this one was a nice one. This is kind of the big surprise, and the big one that's coming out October 20th. And this one kind of, caught me off guard, because we're going to talk about this in a little bit.
Onward and upward.
So it's new 3D 2D Mario platformer, which is obviously a follow-up to the new Super Mario U, new Super Mario Brothers 2 line of games, the 3D 2D platformers that have been on the 3DS and the Wii and the Wii U, and we've had some ports over to the Switch. But what's really cool about this is, if you're watching this art style, this is the first time Nintendo has changed the Mario art style in the animation years. They have been using the same kind of 3D animations and sprites since the Wii. And what was interesting about that is that Mario wasn't very his expressions weren't very big in those games. He seemed to be very stoic in those games. His face movements didn't move. His hat and his fabric, and he wasn't very animated. He was just Mario. And it was fine when we first saw it on the Wii, but seen this animation for this game, I mean, first off, he's making a lot more facial expressions. His hat's moving, his fabric's moving. He's got a little bit of more of like an elasticity in the way he moves, kind of like a cartoon. You could just see right there, like even the push animation, like her face, she did kind of a big anime style like smile, where she's like stressed. Like none of that stuff was really being done by Nintendo. So it's whatever the art team that they brought on for this game seems to like really understand that like if you're gonna make a 2D game, you have to not forget the 2D feel, which is what animation's about. And animation is you should be able to like do exaggerations and kind of play with the physics a little bit. So because all what the 2D games felt like were just 3D Mario games on a 2D plane. And so this game is pushing that animation just a bit more, which is really cool. So that's exciting to see them finally change the animation style for Mario. And of course, this was the big, like everyone, there's already fan art and stuff because everyone's loving one of the power-ups.
That Goomba looks so well then.
So there we go. That's Super Mario Wonder. That looks great. I'm excited for it. I am a big fan of art and art style and pixel art and 3D art and anything that's art in general. I'm always fascinated by the look and feel and the direction that a game takes. And all of those 2D Mario games for a long time have felt very stagnant. There was a very copy paste style to them all since the Wii. And this one, that now that we've got a follow up to that, the fact that they've changed that style is excellent. That means that this isn't just a take assets of Super Mario Wii and throw them in a new, make a bunch of new levels and port them to 1080p and you're good. Heck, the music in those games is recycled. I mean, it's just the constant, everyone knows it, the ba-bas, if anyone's familiar with that, there's the constant, just like the sound that they make, and every time they do the ba-ba, the characters kind of like bounce on purpose, like and so because of that, everyone just kind of like, oh God, I hate that. Why do they do that? And so I'm wondering if that's going to change on this. So far, the game looks fun, looks great. I'm excited for it. That's cool. And another thing that they announced was a new Princess Peach game, which is really cool because we haven't had a Princess Peach game in 17 years. The last game that we got was Super Princess Peach on the DS. Let's see if I can pull this up. I don't even know what they've got. Did they put up a trailer on its own? Yeah, so this is all we've got. The game has not been named.
That's right. Princess Peach will star as the main character in a brand new game. When she steps on this particular spot on stage.
Huh? Whoa. What on earth is happening?
That's all we'll show for now. We'll share more details at a later date. Mr. Koizumi, there's actually...
So this is interesting about this, and this one I want to talk about a little bit on this one. And let me see if I can throw up oh, man. This particular one is interesting. I'm not going to throw anything up. This conversation in the direct when you're watching it, there's a few games that they talk about, they mention, and they keep saying like, oh, it's coming in 2024, or no name for this one, or there's just certain things that they alluded to. This is really telling me that they are holding off certain games for whatever next piece of hardware they're announcing. I can almost, this feels like a wind up for it, as in, I guarantee you whatever next version of the Switch comes out is 100% a Switch. It is going to be a Switch Pro, a Switch 2, some sort of Switch, new Switch, whatever they're going to freaking call it. It will play Switch games. They have too much invested in this eShop, in this ecosystem, in the subscriptions, and all of that for it not to just be a new version of the hardware. they're just still printing money, folks. Nintendo isn't going anywhere with this hardware. And what'll happen is there's going to be some sort of like shift, which Nintendo has never been able to pull off well. They did this with the 3DS, where they released the new 3DS, is what they called it, and it had a faster processor. It had more memory, which allowed certain games to take advantage of that, but not all of them. And what was happening here is this is kind of the same argument that people make with the Xbox and the PS4 and even the Series S, for that matter, is that when a developer has to develop a game and they have to hit all of the SKUs, they have to hit all of the systems all at once, which means that when they release the game, it has to be playable on all of them. It really hurts development, right? Because what ends up happening is you have to either port to the old systems, or you have to develop for the lowest common denominator, which would be the base Switch, or for like I said, the Xbox, it was the Xbox One, not the One X or the One S. It's just the base one, and that was a problem for a lot of developers, especially things like Cyberpunk, right? So Cyberpunk 2077 ran into that problem where they developed the game for all of these systems. They had to develop for the PS4 and the PS4 Pro and the PS5, and then they had to develop for the series, for the One, the One S, the One X, the Series S, and the Series X. And honestly, the Series S and X weren't even announced when they announced this game or when it was coming out. The hardware wasn't even out yet, right? But the point is they knew it was coming, and the games were eventually going to be ported to those. So it's almost like their engine wasn't really made for any of these older pieces of hardware, and so it ran like crap. On the flip side, Nintendo had this issue with the Nintendo 3DS, with the new 3DS and the regular 3DS, where that all of their games kind of had to be for the entire family of the 3DS. When your entire lineup is meant for kids, or younger kids in general, like the handhelds were, well, you run into this problem where parents or grandparents or whatever are going to buy games, and they don't want to end up buying the game for the wrong system when it's labeled the same thing, right? So the problem with that is, one, the new 3DS was just new 3DS, and people didn't understand that. They just thought it was a new piece of hardware. So if you make a game for just the new 3DS, which they did, there's a few games out there that are made specifically only for the new 3DS. One of them was they did a port of Xenoblade Chronicles? No, Xenoblade. One of the Xenoblade games was ported over to the 3DS, and it's for new 3DS only. And the way that you can tell is the box, the banner is a black banner that says for new 3DS only. Also, I want to say Minecraft is a new 3DS only because the regular 3DS can't play it. They also had a few, like I think the Super Nintendo the Super Nintendo games that you could download off of the eShop for the 3DS. Also, you couldn't play them on the regular 3DS. It could only be on the new 3DS. There's just certain consoles, the various small things, but it was only a few games. And what happened there is they did run into the problem where, if I have an old 3DS, I don't know the difference. I just thought new just meant some new features, that there wasn't anything internally stopping me from playing this game. And sure enough, you go pick up that game and pop it in, you'll get a message saying it's only for this new version of the console. So that's the problem with the Switch, right? Like, if they keep the Switch as a Switch Pro, you're going to have to make all the games compatible in some way with the old Switch. And then you still want to take advantage of the features of the new Switch, the new hardware, the new oomph, the new power. But at what point do you abandon the old Switch? And that's kind of the dangerous slope we are running into with these new generation of consoles, where at what point do we abandon the old one? These consoles cost more, right? They're $500 out the gate. The Switch is $300 for one right now. So they're not going to abandon the Switch anytime soon. They can't. So for a while, they're going to have to find a way to have a game, maybe a patch system of some sort, where all the games you buy will work on whatever Switch, but then when you pop it in, it detects that you're on a newer Pro or Switch 2 or whatever they're going to call it, and it runs an enhanced version of the code on the cartridge, or it downloads a patch. But then that makes it so that your physical copy isn't compatible. I don't know how they're going to do this. This is just me speculating. My point is new hardware's coming, folks. That game, Princess Peach, is coming out for the Switch for sure, but I feel like that is a wind up, kind of like just like recharging up, ready to get some sort of games ready to go for the next piece of hardware. And yeah, I mean that's just the only way I see it. I can't imagine it any other way. Having just bought a Switch within the past year, if it goes obsolete soon, I'm going, yeah, but that's the thing is it won't. It's not. And that's what I'm getting at, Rolls. They're not going to. They're still selling. I mean, I recently just, like, I mean, they know what they're doing. They're willing to sell you a whole new console. Like, we just had Tears of the Kingdom come out for the regular Switch, and they release special editions, of the, man, it's so blown out. I can't. Yeah, there we go. Oh my God, look at that. Oh, it's so blown out. You can't look at that white. You can't even see that. Blown out. My God. It's because it's reflective, right? Because it's metallic, so it's the light keeps hitting it. But my point is this just came out. This is the OLED dock for the special edition Tears of the Kingdom, and they know people just bought that. They're not going to abandon it now. They that would be bad. Nintendo hasn't done that ever. But my point is like they still have hardware that's being sold. So at what point? Yeah, no, you're going to. But here's the thing, Rolls. You just bought it, and the library of the Switch is probably one of the strongest Nintendo has had in ever. Not only is it the strongest, it's one of the most unified systems that they've had, right? Like, the Switch alone has more ports of old systems on it than almost any other system I've ever seen, right? Like, on the Switch right now, you can pretty much play, except maybe the handheld ones, not all of them. You could play the majority of you can play almost every Zelda game, right? Like, you can play Zelda 1, Zelda 2, you can play Zelda 1, Zelda 2, Link to the Past. What's going on, boss? The Switch has such a library that you can play the entire Zelda library right now, right? Like, you can play 1, 2, Ocarina of Time, Tears, Link's Awakening. You can play the remaster of Link's Awakening or the remake of Link's Awakening. Oh yeah, it's an AGP card. Right there, yeah. There's all sorts of things you can do with it. The from emulation to ports to whatever, everything's been ported. I mean, a perfect example is the Switch is going long and strong. That one of the other announcements, again, that I didn't talk about is they announced one of the things that's coming to the Switch this fall, which is, I'll show the trailer because I thought this was kind of a cool one to show. Is
Wake up, Mr. Wayne. We have much to discuss.
All three games of the the Batman Arkham series are being ported over to the Switch, which is really cool. Like, again, they're old games, sure, but here we have one system now, one unified handheld system, no less. You can have all three of the Batman Arkham games. I mean, do they run better on a PS4? Maybe, probably, but here we are. This is a console that's a handheld, and you can dock it and play it on your TV, and you can just play the games. They exist all in one system. You don't have to go hunt down a PS3 to play one version and then a PS4 to play another. They're all here. So that's really cool. So again, if Nintendo did abandon it tomorrow, the library is so deep for someone that just bought it that you would never play all the games that have been released for the Switch. The library is so vast and deep that I think it'll be fun. That said, though, it's sad that you wouldn't have anything new, right? But there's so much. I mean, you got both of the Zeldas, the new ones came out on it. It was huge. I think about 140 hours on that game alone. Tears of the Kingdom, easy. Not that's not even exaggerating. That might be pretty much that between that and Street Fighter 6 that I've been playing constantly, I can't. The amount of time I'm putting in Tears of the Kingdom is phenomenal. And again, who knows what they'll port to the next Switch from the PS4 or the 360 or the One series that couldn't run on the Switch originally. It's just, again, there's a new system coming. You can feel it. This new Switch is coming. It's just, I don't think they know how to release this thing. It's a slippery slope, releasing a piece of hardware that is going to confuse people that aren't gamers, that aren't aware of all of the nuances, like roles. Like you, for example, like I said, you just bought it, but you're not aware of all of the intricacies of the hardware. So if they were to release a new version and then they released a game later on that you might like, but somehow or another that game is only for Switch Pro or Switch New or whatever they call it, that would be kind of hard for you because you wouldn't know that unless someone told you, right? You're hoping that someone at GameStop or whatever is smart enough to say, hey, by the way, which Switch do you own? Because this can only be played on this version of the hardware or whatever. So, I mean, that's kind of the point is Nintendo is kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place where they are feeling the length, the long tooth of the hardware in the Switch, but they're still making magic with it. But my point is I'm pretty sure they want to move on to new hardware, but they can't because the install base is so deep and so rich that you can't abandon it. You have to be able to port to it as well. So what happens? How do new games get made for it? Do we have both versions on a cart where they work? What's the game plan there? And I think that's what they're having to work behind the scenes. I don't know. This is just speculation for me. But yeah. What else, man? Like this is what else came out this week? I mean, we had a pretty good direct, like I stated. Did anything else? Anybody see anything or talk about anything that I can't think of anything else. This week was kind of a blur, except this direct. Outside of people stuck in submarines, using a Logitech controller to control. What else is the other big news that I can think of? Man. Yeah, that's right. My wife is big excited for that. I haven't seen all of it. Only big news for YouTubers. Smash. Yeah, I saw that. That's a big one as well. I'll talk about that in a second. Righteous Gemstones season 3 is out. Yeah, that's a good one. My wife is. I mean, she's a religious scholar, so that's her MO. So seeing a show about comedy and drama and whatever, the over the topness of a Southern Christian evangelical movement is perfect. She loves it so much. So yes, she's excited for it. She just has to kind of like ramp herself up to watch it because it's such a deep show, such a like interesting show. Someone told me that the sub crashed because the controller got stick drift. Oh man, oof. That's a good one. Yeah, the memes have been deep, and it's like on one side of me is like, oh man, I don't want to make fun or laugh about people dying, right? But at the same time, like these were billionaires that chose and signed waivers to jump into an experimental, not certified submarine and go see the Titanic, which again, before the show started, we were talking about like, what is the point? Like, what is there something new down there? Like, are they expecting to see aliens? What is the big? What are we seeing down there that that we need to go see? Like what like, right? Like that's what I'm saying. Like I don't understand what are they? What's the big mystery down there? Also, like at first I read that it had no windows, and then I found out that it has like one window on it, one tiny window. So like everybody cramming like 8 people in there, and they can't see out of one window. So you're still gonna have to do video feeds. Just sit on the surface and drop a camera down there. There you go. You're now above it, and you're going to see the same thing through a camera. Like, I just don't understand why the people have to go down there. Like, are you feeling a bigger connection? Are you going to see a body? Are you hoping to see Jack's body down there? Like, what's the right, man? Like, it's there is legit science that can be learned from the wreck, but it sounds like this company is. But that's my point. Is Rolls like the science has already been done, man. Like, all right, we need to go revisit it. So we send a science team down there, not a bunch of tourists that paid money. Also, these people weren't down there for science. We had one scientist that was on board, from my understanding, and that guy was he's still worth over $1 billion. Like he was a rich scientist. So like, my point is this wasn't for science. This was for like weird tourism. Yeah, this is basically a FAFO trip. That's exactly right. And so it just doesn't. There's something just that doesn't. I don't know. I don't know. It's just not. It's hard to feel sorry for a group of people that pay $250,000 per ticket. But yes, morbid, but the point clicks in my mind. Bodies on Everest are used as waypoints for Yeah, but there are no, from my understanding, there are no bodies down in the Titanic. They have all been eaten or dissolved or decayed. Human flesh and bone does not handle well to the pressures of the Titanic. So, what are you seeing down there? You're not, again, there's not. I just don't. There's no reason to go down there, folks. There's no reason. Everything we can see, everything we're going to see, can be seen through a video feed. If you're a scientist and you went down there, you would have had a better ship. You would have had better equipment. There's going that far deep in an experimental ship probably wasn't the best way to do it. So, yeah, that's where I land. So it's hard to feel sorry for them. Hopefully there's good news. From my understanding, they're probably running out of air right about now, from my understanding. So I don't think it's going to go well. If it's found, if it imploded, I don't know. My heart goes out to the families. I do know that there was the news is showing that one of the nephews or kids or whatever, I think he's set to inherit or whatever. He was on Twitter and he went out to a concert and all of that while his like family members like dying or dead. So it's just I don't know. Whatever. The Titanic people, folks. That's I wouldn't have thought that would be a piece of news that we're talking about, but here we are. What else? I think that's it, folks. I can't think of anything else to talk about. Yeah, I mean, outside of that, I have been a little update on my part, just kind of I'll play some background music here as we end the show here. There we go. Let's play some background music here. So yeah, but a little update on me, folks. The show is still going on, of course. Pedro probably won't be back till July, give or take. He's kind of been in a hiatus for a little bit, but I'll be around. The show might restructure a little bit just due to Pedro having to kind of step away a little bit more often. I'm not sure where I'm going to go with the show. This is fun for me, but it's hard to do when it's by myself. I like to have someone to bounce ideas from. At the same time, I'm actually in the middle of a move. This is kind of a big old like mess in here. But I can show you what I've been doing. You see parts right here. So someone pointed out an AGP card here earlier. So I've been kind of going through all of my part bins and whatever else and trying to cull the herd so they don't have to pack a bunch of boxes and whatever else. I've been building a bunch of retro machines, kind of putting together pieces and parts to kind of build machines. I built, so under here, I've got like a Windows 98 machine, kind of like a well-built Windows 98 machine. I've got a Windows XP machine, kind of maxed out on Windows XP, so that anything that runs on Windows XP is installed and running. I've got my main box here, just kind of piecing together things, cleaning things up. What else? I've got a couple products that I'm in the middle of a review that need to get filmed and put up. One of them is this funky thing right here. So this is my keyboard, and it's hard to really show. This is my keyboard. It is fully lit up, and it's blinking only because of the refresh rate on the camera. Let me see if I could bring down the ISO here. Yeah, there we go. But it is a fully lit up crystal clear keyboard. Let's see if I can bring it up even lower. Boom, boom, boom. There we go. So that's fully. Let's bring down the ISO here. There we go. So fully RGB. You can program it, do all sorts of stuff. It's crystal clear switches. But I'm in the middle of a review on that. And what else? I've been trying to type. I realized that I can type better than I thought I could. I'm still considered a hunt and pecker, even though I know my keys by memory. But I pre-ordered some key sets for Street Fighter, and here they are. This is one of my other keyboards that I've been using, and I really love this keyboard a lot. The keys are printed on the side, so they're right there, and they're harder to read. So it's been harder for me, but as soon as I put my fingers down and I start typing, I can actually hit the keys that I'm wanting. So I didn't realize I knew where things were. Like I really didn't have to look, but I'm a little unsure of myself. So what's cool about this keyboard is it's kind of forcing me to learn to sight type without sight typing, even though I can already do it. Like essentially I put my fingers down and I look down like I'm looking at the keys and I start typing, but I'm actually typing out the words that I need to. So like it's interesting. It's like a weird, like I have to look at the keyboard and look at the keys to type, but I really don't. It's just I'm used to doing it. So that all said, I am a little slower at typing than I probably should be. So that's the fun part about it. What else? Yeah, that's pretty much it. I've been playing Tears of the Kingdom. I need to sit down, and it's confidence building. That's a good way to put it. Yeah, that's what I've been doing. I am probably, I said last week I was going to do it and I didn't get a chance to, only because I was so busy, but I am going to sit down and probably do a stream this week on Street Fighter. I really want to just sit down in the arcade room and turn on the stream and stream the actual footage, from the machine that I'm playing on, and go online and get my butt kicked repeatedly over and over again, because I'm learning a few new characters, and that's been really fun. Like I'm honestly, folks, if you like fighting games, the Street Fighter 6 fighting community has been on point, and the methods of control, the classic, modern, and dynamic control schemes for Street Fighter 6 make it so that anybody can pick up the game and enjoy Street Fighter online and not lose, unless you're like me and you don't want to switch your control scheme to any of the other ones that make it easier. They're not cheating in any way. They just provide a different method of control, and some people see it as cheating, but honestly, there is trade-offs by picking some of those new control schemes. My point is if you can pick it up, play it. It's fun online. There's a good community. The online play is fun. The single player is fun. The story mode is fun. All of it is fun. So yeah, that's where I'm at right now. Tears of the Kingdom is still happening. I haven't played anything else new. I'm sure Pedro's been playing all sorts of stuff. But folks, what do you want to see? Like, where do you want the show to go direction wise? I feel like I need what is the next step for the Mid-Geek Crisis? I do this show on a weekly basis for my own mental health, to be honest with you. It really has become kind of hey, I do this because I want to talk to some people and I feel I don't really have anyone to sit down and talk to about the things that I enjoy, whether it be movies or games or whatever else. So I turn on my camera and I do it to the world. And when I do that, I get people like you folks in chat to kind of share some of the geek excitement with me, and hopefully I get a little reciprocation back, or hopefully you're as excited as I am. Or if you're not, that's okay. Sometimes I have opinions about things, and that is the reason for the Tuesday night show. But I really have to sit down and force myself, as soon as this move happens and the studio gets worked on and the new arcade gets built, film content and just put up content on its own. And what do you want to see? Like I work on arcade machines, and there's tons of arcade content that I can film. I do a lot of different style video gaming that Pedro doesn't do. I wish Pedro would film some of the stuff that he does. It'd be really cool to see some of his painting and maybe him turn on the camera and do that. But I don't think I could ever get him to do that. The show will still be on Wednesdays every night. I'm not going to stop doing this part of the stream, but this is probably not going to be the main show anymore. Like, as in, like, this show is the show, but this is not going to be what the channel's main crown point is. I think the videos and the reviews and maybe some actual, like, specific talking points, script writes that I write to kind of create will be maybe opinion pieces and get some commentary on, so that I can get some views on the YouTube channel. Might be the next bread and butter for this channel. And then we'll see where we go. 2023 isn't over yet. We're halfway through 2023. The show has been on for over 3 years now. The channel hasn't grown as much as it probably should have, only because I'm a lazy F and it's hard to do this on my own. And I don't really have a partner when it comes down to the creativity side of things. But I'm not saying that Pedro isn't my partner. He's great. He shows up for the show on Wednesday nights. And that's it. That's pretty much it. But he's really just kind of the person I bounce stuff off of. But and that's not to him, only because I've never really said, "Hey, Pedro, could you do this?" It's more, he's doing his own thing, and the show is really my baby, and he just comes along for the ride. It's kind of like I'm on my way to X destination. You want to ride? And he goes, "Yeah, I'll tag along." And that's what he's been kind of doing. He's been tagging along with me along this ride. Oh man, I would love to bring Roxy back. She's been so busy. She's been getting bigger. She moved out to LA, and you can follow her. Just look up Roxy. Roxy is online. She wrote a book recently. She's funny. She's great. I'm gonna find some more people to collab with for sure. That's going to happen. I have talked to someone. So the person that I wanted to bring on today was unable to make it for today, but I didn't want to have a week where I called off. So I turned on the camera in my office, even though the office is a mess. Yeah, man, I really need to figure out a lot of stammering and whatnot, but I really need to figure out where the direction of the show and the brand is going. I really don't want to abandon it. I feel like I love it too much to just kind of go, yeah, I'm done with this, because I'm not done. There's a lot more to give to the Mid-Geek crisis. I think as I get older, I feel like I want to talk about more things. I don't know how to do it. And some of the things that I do on a daily basis is way geekier than the things that I've talked about on this show on a normal basis. A good example, I don't even know how I can share this. I've been like, what am I working on right now? Like today before the show, like I'm on call this week. So my hours are 10 to 4. So I get off at 4 p.m., but I stay up later, and I have been kind of working on some things. Since I'm cleaning up and packing, I'm also finding some half-done projects, things that are in bins that need to get finished. And I don't want to pack them up and move to a new house with the project not complete. Some of them only required 1 or 2 parts. So what I did is I ordered a few little parts here and there, like $20 part here or there that needed to complete it. And one of them, a good example was, I have an old PowerBook, a G4, 12-inch. I'm a Mac guy. We'll see Roxy's coming back to Houston in 2 months. That's cool. So I'll advertise her show when she's gets closer to it for sure. But it's an old MacBook. Like who really cares about that? So I sit down and I order it, and I'm literally like right now. On my table out there is a old MacBook G4 that's torn apart completely, and I'm replacing the LCD and all of that. And that's kind of stuff that I could turn on the camera and stream and do, or not even stream, just kind of film and make a video about. But it's pretty niche compared to what I've filmed before. So I don't know. Maybe I'm just going to throw up things and see what hits. I know that things like the RGB Pi channel, the RGB videos that I made early on, right here, are a hit. They're like the highest viewed videos that I've got. So those really inspired me to make more, but they're hard to make only because I've got to capture video, and I really don't want to. I have to find a specific topic on that particular product right now. Also, it's hard to kind of talk about the RGB Pi when Raspberry Pis are like impossible to get right now. I can't say, hey folks, check out this awesome project, the RGB Pi project that I've been working on. It's great for old TVs and you can play old games on them, but and what it is and what it does when I you can't buy the hardware to make it, right? And that's been the big problem since COVID. So I don't know. Do I talk about retro? Do I talk about what about just geek life streaming, just various products? That's what I'm going to do. I mean, I am a very, very deep geek, but I'm also like, I don't, Pedro is very focused on his geekdom, right? He loves his tabletop, and he loves playing games on Game Pass, and that's pretty much it. Like, he's not a big tech when it comes down to like reading the tech news and following along and, oh, this movie's going to come out and let's talk about this movie or this show. He's very late to talk about certain shows and movies because he's not going to watch them unless they finally kind of get put in front of him in his path. But he's great at like painting minis and whatnot. And so something like that would be awesome to kind of sit down and film, but he doesn't do it. So that's not my foray. And I also do that, but I also do 3D printing, and I also do laser cutting. And I also do repairs on arcade machines. And I'm in the middle of painting my Neo Geo cabinet out in the garage. And so there's all sorts of things that I do. Like, I'm so scatterbrained in my amount of projects that I do that it's hard to kind of turn on the camera and film it. And when I do, hear me out, folks. And this is for people that have been bugging me for certain videos. When I do turn on the camera to film, I film it. And then the footage sits on my phone because it's hard to pull it off of my phone to sit down and actually edit it, put it together, put a video on it, put a thumbnail, make the art for it, and all of that. And I haven't put a thumbnail on these streams in a couple months now because it's like I have to run and make this stream. So that's the state of it. Rolls from a perspective, honestly, this is where I get my geek news from. You and Pedro have always been. Thank you. I appreciate that, and I'm going to keep doing it, and that's not going to stop. This show is that. This show is the best way for me to kind of talk about the things that I saw and read at the end of the week, and that's not going to stop. But I need to do more with the channel, and I need to do more with the content, and I need to do more with the brand. And there's so much stuff that I work on and research and read that I really just need to put pen to paper is kind of the best way to put it. And I don't know. My channel doesn't make money to hire a producer, right? So like, it would be awesome if someone was just the person that like did the thumbnails and wrote the titles and like set up the stream or set up the channel, and I dump the video up there, and that would be golden. But that's not right. Like, a lot of channels don't do that, right? A lot of channels are one-man shows, and that's great. They can do that, but it's hard for me with family and kids and work and all the other hobbies. It's hard to not make the channel the hobby and still continue working on the hobbies, right? Like, because if I turn around and make the channel the hobby, then the other hobbies don't get the full attention. So I can always brand out Maritime. Yes, that is exactly right. Man. Anywho, folks, thank you so much. That was a lot of rambling. The house is coming. Final update on that is we were approved. We do have a budget. We do have a pre-approval amount. We have found multiple houses. We put an offer on one on Friday. The offer was then not rejected, but they wanted more. So they counter-offered, and the counter-offered is not what we want because of some of the things. So we kind of let that one go until maybe that one drops. We saw another house that we really liked, and we wanted to put an offer on it. And it come to find out that the realtor that was representing that particular house was lazy and did not update the status to that house. So by the time we saw it, it was already an offer had already been put on it. So that sucked because we really got our hopes on that one because the house had been on the market for a very long time. So it made no sense for us, like, why all of a sudden did it get taken? It's like, oh, great. We finally saw it and we liked it. No one wanted it for like 6 months or whatever, 5 months. And all of a sudden we want it, and then an offer gets put the day before we see it. So that's the way it goes. We saw another house that we really liked this Sunday. We saw it on Father's Day. After we were told that we weren't getting the other one, we went out to look for some houses. Our realtor was really nice on Sunday and took us out, and he found this great one. We really liked it a lot, and it's perfect. I don't even want to talk about what it had. It had a great, just the layout was perfect. I liked it a lot. And we put an offer down, and they counter offered with more, saying that no, they're wanting more. But I'm like, the house has also been on the market for a while. And it's like, oh, I don't understand. Like we're offering you what you're asking, and that's not what you want. You want more. So I don't put that as the price. I just don't get it. So we've got one more that we were going to put an offer in that we did fill out paperwork. So we're hoping to get some sort of like decision on. It would be great if that one gets accepted, because that would mean that the one that we've just put an offer in or signed paperwork for is got the layout that we're looking for. It's got what we want. It's just it's hard to get our hopes up, right? And in this economy, in this household, in this range, and whatever we call this weird timeline that we're in, where houses are few and far between, double the value that they really are, and interest rate and the whole game of buying houses is a scam. Yeah, it is a huge scam. Especially right now. I don't wish this on anybody. This is probably one of the most stressful things that we've ever gone through. It's hard to kind of get our hopes up. It's hard to feel. You can't you see something and all you want to do is imagine what you want your house to be in. So as soon as you see it, you're like, oh man, and it's available and I offer set amount. Okay, that means I get to buy the house. No, that's not how it works, right? Like you offer it and then they can say, no, we want more, or no, that's not enough, or whatever the case may be, or whatever. They just say they don't want it, so like you don't get it, or you counteroffer, or you have to fight with the bank and say, well, you need your interest rate at this rate, because then your monthly payments all of a sudden are like $3,500 a month, and you're like, wait a minute, how does that work out? So yeah, but Adam, that's the biggest problem is it's like, while the money is yours, it's not yours. And also you need to be careful on that, because then you end up paying a lot of money for the money that they gave you, right? Like interest rates and whatever. It's a big scam because it's all phony money. It's all phony. The money, the amount, the numbers, all of it is a scam. And so that's the biggest problem with house buying. It's such a big purchase for a normal human, not someone that can afford $250,000 to go on the Titanic tour. That the amount of money that you're playing with is life-changing. And these houses now in a not affluent area of the Dallas-Fort Worth area are now over $250,000, right? So like $300,000, $400,000 for a house that was $200,000 max 3 years ago is hard to kind of swallow. And the amount of money that a bank is giving you is more than $250,000. How do you pay that back? Like it makes no sense. You get a 30-year fixed rate, whatever mortgage with like a set payment, and then the taxes every year go up and down, so they fluctuate unless you do some homestead, and it's just all this like weird program and lingo and red tape, and it's a mess. I don't wish this on anybody, folks. Every house has one cool feature you want. Trying to pull out those features into the house. Yeah, yep. There you go, man. I digress. I'll be back next week, folks. I promise. I'm here. I'm not giving up on the show. I won't give up on this show. I love it so much. I love you guys. I love everything about this show. And I'm going to find a way to do more with it. And I really hope that you go along the ride with me. I just don't know how to do it yet, but it's going to happen. All right, folks. Thank you so much. Be kind. Go watch some geek stuff. Go see The Flash if you like Michael Keaton. It's fun. It's nice to see him again. It's what year is it, folks? What year is it? Thank you so much. Another episode in the can. Take care.